Welcome to Raising Funds for World Domination, day number 303. So for today's daily update, there are no updates on the anticipated appeal of the win at the tenant board. There is still another block type available in the Shopify Store. And I've got a video released today. So, and otherwise, we will continue with work on the terminal block mining simulation game. Losh17122 says, "How are you?" I'm pretty good. I just published a video. It's always a good feeling when you've been working on something for a while and you finally get it out there. I hate having half completed work. How are you doing? Okay, so that works. That's good. So half of it. Yeah, I was originally planning to put that out much more quickly and make it like more kind of like stream of consciousness. But I just ended up, I wrote some rough bullet points, and then, I don't know, it's one of those topics where I feel like if I just kind of try to explain it as it comes to me, it's not going to make a lot of sense, and people are going to post all these comments that are like, this doesn't make sense. This is wrong. So I'm like, okay, how do I explain this? So that made it a bit longer than I originally hoped. And then also I guess I could have optimized it more. I think I talked quite a bit too much about like some of the business considerations and stuff that maybe could have been a separate video, but in the end, I just put it out there. I think I got my basic ideas in there, and anyone who cares enough about the idea will probably watch the whole thing. Doing well, excellent. So Celeste says, "GD, how's it going? Gonna go watch the other half." Yeah, probably the last half of it is has a lot of the more precise points. I was actually thinking I should probably make like an example video to like, so that the concept in that video I just went over the general concept, and then I think it would make more sense with a specific case study. Actually, one example of the case study is probably in the previous video to that, where I just went through the math on what if you just cut as many trees down as possible and had 3 million people building houses, building just as many 600 square foot houses as you possibly could. Okay, so we're on this, we're going to continue with the refactoring of the chunk loading class. I should make that a separate work item so it doesn't block the calling thread. Guess who's back? Back again. Robert's back. Tell a friend. Yep, I'm back again every night. What's the ETA for world domination? It's getting extended now. I'm having trouble with the financing. The economy's bad. The number of channel revenue is way down. Number of channel members is down. Gotta come up with some new revenue generating activities. Sounds like GTA 6. What specifically? The delay? I guess I haven't played GTA 6. Okay, let me think. I'll just do what I want. Haven't played GTA 6. Oh, is GTA 6 the one that's not released yet? Wasn't it GTA 5? That's the latest one. It was released like 10 years ago or something. Correct. Excellent. I am up to date on the lore of GTA. GTA 5 came out in 2012. Wow. So, and GTA 6, that's not out yet? That's crazy. Why don't they just release it? Because then they can get money. Is it actually still being developed? Like I thought I saw a few years ago there was like a trailer for it that people were talking about. They were all excited. going to come out end of this year. Wow, finally, after 15 years of development, it better be good. Use a TUI library, so all from scratch. It's pretty much all from scratch. Let's see, I am using in terms of like the actual if I thought more about like there's really not too many things in it with like ANSI escape sequences. I had like if I eventually added like mouse support and stuff, I probably would use like try to use end curses or something. I'm not sure. It would probably decrease the portability though, unless I figured out how to compile with end curses everywhere. Yeah, this I did. The only other thing is I have my there's a J and I library that I added, and the code for that is actually just one function here for C++ for listening to the signal window change event. And I guess in the future, if I did start using end curses a bit more, this would be a stepping stone to using more of that stuff. But for now, it's pretty much all from scratch. And I think a lot of the stuff that I want is not really in, at least as far as I know, any libraries. Is this the tech that Anthropic claimed was novel? The tag? I don't know. I highly doubt that Anthropic was paying any attention to my stuff. Okay, so this should hopefully make it so that when the new client connection starts, it'll request the player's position. Is that working? I was not expecting it to work yet. is the plan for this to become a game engine? I guess it kind of is. Although I'm trying to build it so that it's basically like, so that there is a playable game. I think tons of people are building, build game engines that never really get taken up or used. But I'm trying to kind of do a sprint of like trying to add features to like expand the playable game loop, and then some of those features will not be really to be implemented very poorly, enough bugs and stuff, and then I'll try to refactor that, I guess, into a game engine as I go. But yeah, I guess the model, I think, is general enough that it could be turned into a game engine. Although I don't know, I don't expect anyone to really build upon it. But with the way AI is going, that's also another interesting dimension. Where if I can make the model simple enough, and like maybe even just building, like write some documentation, and then have the AI read the documentation about how my software works, and then people could like vibe code games on top of the game engine. That's on my to-do list also, to try doing some AI coding, or even like it'd be interesting to do some sessions. I don't have time to do this soon, but sit down with like AI and ask an AI how I could like change things, refactor it to make it more vibe code friendly. Because if the API is good enough, like an AI should be able to tell, it should be able to give me good answers for how to make it more vibe codable, to like extend stuff on top of it. I guess I'll just make a wrapper class for that. Shibal says, yo, how's it going? Nice, we got a super chat. Thank you very much for the 20 rupees, maybe. I'm not sure what the currency is. Thank you very much. Do you think there will be a market for TY stuff, given all of the CLI AI tools out there? I don't know. I don't. Yeah, it would surprise me if there's a market, and like a market where you can make money building a TUI. I guess depends. Yeah, given all CLI AI tools out there. Yeah, I guess it's a good question. I guess with AI, there's many ways you could answer that, but like the market for like creating terminal user interfaces that are used to be accessed by humans or accessed by AIs, because there'd be different work to do there. I would think if someone was going to do that, they'd probably like just use the existing, like there's like end curses and stuff. Although I haven't looked into, I'm still not super aware of like the advanced features of end curses. From what I know about end curses, and I think there's also some issues with it. It's not like thread safe and stuff. But it's from what I know about it, it's good at like generalizing over the many different like ancient terminals and stuff, and handling a lot of the strange escape sequences and stuff for like hardware terminals, and which those are not really top of mind in my consideration for support. But in terms of like the like some of the stuff that I've done, being able to have scrollable lists and stuff, and like more kind of just like the structures that I need in the game. And I guess a lot of the UI stuff is specific to what I'm building. Finally, my payment works. What do you think about owning data centers? Where to start? What do I think about owning data centers? I think they're pretty expensive. You got to have lots of money if you want to own them. They're also really expensive to run. You need lots of. Got to locate them somewhere with cheap power. In terms of profits, what do you rate them? There's probably several different stakeholders that are involved in the construction and operation of a modern data center. So there's probably I would say for sure, depending on where it is and the resources and stuff involved, there's probably a lot of money to be made in building them for people. Like if you, I'm sure there's cases where if you're in the right place at the right time, you can make a ton of money selling land to get them. Like if you just happen to have land in a place that's near an urban center and it's near a cheap source of power and water, you can sell the land for a massive profit or lease it. And then in those same cases, there's some margin to be made on the construction and like the electrical contractor work. I think there's a lot of people making decent money doing the electrical contracting work for them. So that they're taking a bit. Then once you get it built, it depends like who owns it, runs it. So if you just build it, you would price it so you're making a constant amount for money. You don't even care what the data center does. You just be like, okay, here's the operating costs. It costs like $10,000 or $100,000 a month for power. And then there'd be like the question about like who actually brings in the computers and stuff. You might just like rent it out as a facility. So the facility owner might be totally agnostic to what's running in there, and they get a cut. And the facility might also be run by the same person who's deciding what runs on the software. And whoever's running like the models, like OpenAI and stuff, they would probably, that would be where there's huge variability in terms of profits. So OpenAI right now, I think is losing massive amounts of money. But if you can just like, if they improve the cost efficiency of their product, like 2% every month, compounding for like years, then eventually their cost base would go to their operating cost would kind of amortize down to zero. And they're getting $30 a month from tons and tons of people, then they could actually, it could be like a money printing machine. But I think right now they're still losing tons of money. What are you doing, Robert? I'm currently working on my terminal-based video game. Robert De Niro. No, it's a different Robert. The S command is your favorite Linux command. That's true, it is my favorite Linux command. Wouldn't hardware obsolescence be an issue for for data centers as well? That's a good question. I think probably yeah, I don't know. There's a question about like how long they're going to be useful for. They're probably still able to make money in 5-10 years from now. There may be, my guess is they probably the big win is just they're going to be like more energy efficient. There's going to be like X number of more compute per like watt. And that's probably where, so you can probably you could use, there's going to be a cost calculation of you could buy the newer, more energy efficient chips, but it cost you $1 million. And so the question is how long do you plan to operate it before $1 million? It's worth it $1 million to replace all your chips. And so that might take several years for that cost to actually be big enough to make a difference. Cool stuff. Yes, indeed. Okay, this will wrap the player position. Because it's a pain in the ass. If you don't know about data centers, just want to own one for the profits. I think you gotta have big money to own one. Depending on where you are and what your resources are, there's probably a way to get in on that. I know. I think some of the big winners are probably tradespeople who are in the right place at the right time. Because there's so much money, there's insane amounts of government money pouring into this stuff. And if some company gets $1 billion check from the government, and they're just like, oh man, we need to build this yesterday. You could be a contractor and you could bid like 10 times more than your normal billing rate. And if it's like you're asking for $100,000 for the job instead of 10,000, they might not even think twice about it. If it's a $1 billion data center. So those are probably areas where there's lots of money to make. But again, you got to be in the right place at the right time. But I don't know. I mean, you could probably Google how much a data center is. They've got to be insanely expensive. I think I missed that one. I imagine old hardware burns out before becoming truly obsolete. It's being run under load 24/7. Maybe. It depends what it has in it. I guess if it's like a drive, flash memory will eventually wear out. Hard drives do as well. Spinning disks. I think I know like some consumer video cards have they have like spinning fans integrated into them. I have heard that like in the last few years, a lot of the server equipment, they've like totally redesigned a lot of the form factors. So that would actually probably be a big issue with a lot of stuff. A lot of things that have like the first things that wear out would be fans and power supplies. And historically those have been separate, but now some of them are getting like integrated together. But it probably depends on the specs of what part you ordered. Because if you can just buy a new fan for most things other than like hard drives or memory, and even so, you can usually like even a lot of hard drives after like 5 years or something, you might have some failures, but you can still operate some of them. Do you enjoy using a bare bones dev environment? Yeah, it's I guess it's what I've grown to use for years, grown to become comfortable with. I do use IntelliJ when I need to debug stuff, step through stuff. But there's the status quo of what's popular to use changes like every 2 years, and I don't really care to learn a new environment. For a while back in the day, it was like Sublime Text. Everyone was using Sublime Text, and then there's like the Atom editor, which was like discontinued. And then I don't know, like Electron and VS Code, and I prefer to just stick with learn one thing and stick with that. And if there's a big win, if it makes sense to learn something new, I'll do that. Which you consider NeoVim? I have through chat messages, people have convinced me that NeoVim is probably what I should use for once I actually get around to testing out AI coding. I've used it for 30 seconds just enough to verify that it works basically just like Vim. use NeoVim too. It's clean. Could be a skill issue, but I hate NeoVim as a cursor alternative. Yeah, I've yet to form an opinion on it. I haven't used it. No distractions. Yeah, I guess the reason I started using terminal editors, the thing that keeps pulling me back to them is like they just work and they also don't use a lot of memory. And they're just so much faster. Like this is an old slow computer. And if like when I actually dread opening the IDE because it literally takes 5 minutes to open. I haven't found a plugin that works well for AI coding. Yeah, you know, that's what I was afraid. Like I've tried. Now I haven't tried in like 6 months. I looked into this again because every single stream people ask me about, have you tried AI coding and what's your opinion on, you know, vibe coding and stuff. So I'm like, okay, I'll find a plugin to actually code with it. And I did that 6 months ago. That's the real reason I started using IntelliJ. And then I looked up the most popular Claude Code plugin they had, and the reviews were like absolutely terrible, and like a 1 star. People said they couldn't even copy and paste with it. So I was just like, okay, I'll just ignore this and wait. I'm not going to waste my time screwing around with this. I'll wait 6 months until it's better. Personally, don't use them because they require you to interact with a massive sidebar. Rather just open another terminal with Cloud Code. Yeah, I tried them a couple times in the past. Like you can go on GitHub and you can ask GitHub things through that. I always forget the name of that. Copilot AI. Yeah, I would ask Copilot for like tips about like how to refactor stuff in this game I'm working on, and there's a couple times when I was like, okay, it's pretty good, but when I had some code to do merging of layers, when I'm merging together screen layers in this application, and I asked it to give me some give me some examples of 3-line optimizations I can do to simplify this code, and it would suggest stuff it'd be like change these lines into this line, and it would give me suggestions about stuff that did not exist in the code. I'm like, this is not even, it's so wrong, I can't even do anything with it. The thing people do is use markdown files for each module file, the code base they work on. And that is meant to give the AI more context. Yeah, it's AI is getting good enough that it really seems like there is a pretty credible case for incorporating it somehow into your workflow. It almost seems like it's not even really. It's not even a good. It's not. It doesn't write code. It's an amazing brute forcing tool, and there are certain problems. There are certain like classes of coding problems where you could just like brute force change the code, and like if you can find any correct solution, it's easy to make it useful. Like I'm actually this is on the to-do list to actually try around with like creating unit tests. I think that might be a good use case for it. I guess either creating unit tests or first writing good unit tests and then like trying to just use those like that agentic mode and just telling it to give it some basic unit test cases and say like randomly change this code until you pass the tests. Used it for unit tests before. Pretty decent. Yeah, and I think the other area like this, I've heard some things where people say they're using it for some crazy percent, like 90% of their code is AI now. But I think I often wonder about what exactly that code is, because a lot of like if you're a place that's a lot of front end web stuff, that's a very believable if you're just copying and pasting templates for like a contact us page or something. A lot of that would be common, and an AI could probably figure it out. But then like the really heavy lifting code, like Linux kernel code for like device drivers, we have to copy around buffers and stuff. That seems like exactly the kind of thing AI would do a terrible job at. New to programming. I'm new to in programming language. I was learning Ziglang. Interesting. I've never tried that language. Someone who used to work in IT that sometimes did some programming. I like using AI to help point me in the right way, so I can RTFM and solve my issue myself. Still just with that added inkling of how. Yeah, I guess honestly I have. I'd say probably one of my biggest uses for it actually has been like sometimes I just forget. I think actually last stream I did this. I forgot like how would I if I have an array list of long values, how do I find the minimum? Like I thought I could just do math.min, but then that didn't compile, and so I'm like, okay, what's the thing? So I just Google it, and then that would be on like Stack Overflow, or I can read the Oracle docs. But now Google just gives their AI summary. So I just look at the AI summary of it, and like technically, that's kind of using AI coding. I only learn syntax and no more. Because no have information like projects. I mean, you don't have any projects to work on? right. Okay, that might actually be what I want. Okay, this is now a lot more generalized. So for a given world, this can now keep track of multiple player positions and then load chunks, whichever chunk is closest to any player. I got rid of the dependency on the client model that was being passed in the constructor. That was another snag. I think there's still issues though. I'm gonna have to remove these references. Because these are per player, but the chunk loading is per world. Always defaulted to Vim with no particular reason behind it. Why do you like VI? I just use VI because it's faster. I think yeah, so VI goes there. So that's symlink just etc alternatives VI. And that's symlink to Vim basic. Which is the actual application. So I guess technically it's the same thing. one step further. Yep, through symlinks, they're the same thing. Or I guess I can also go or no. Oh, never mind. Those are for something else. But yeah, I guess they're via, at least on this machine. Although it's not, this is not always the case. There are cases where if you just run VI, you're actually running it in like X mode, which is the like ED command compatibility. I think you can actually, oh yeah, EX. I actually forgot a lot of this now. But yeah, there's like a old style. I think the first versions of VI were like had compatibility with the ED command. Start Vim in X mode. Okay, I got a little bit of progress done tonight. Let me think. Yeah, there's still more stuff to make generic to get the memory model working, so I can open multiple client connections at once. But we're getting there. And then at some point I might actually make some unit tests for it. But we'll leave it there for tonight, and we'll be back tomorrow night for day 304. All right, have a good night.